former Culture Secretary has told this programme that the government needs to reform parental leave more quickly or risk skilled women missing out on top jobs. Maria Miller, who now chairs the Women and Equalities Committee, says some men are still reluctant to take part in it. It comes a year to the day that parents were first allowed to share time off from work after the birth or adoption of their child. Up to 50 weeks of leave, 37 weeks of which is paid, can be shared by parents in work. There are no official figures for how many parents have actually taken up the deal, but the government is predicting it is going to be between 2 and 8%. So why so low? Well, we can talk to some parents who all shared their parental leave. Mark Smith, who only went back to work on Monday, the only one on the set without a baby this morning. Ben Dixon and partner Eleanor Hoyle, here with their 7-month-old baby Isaac, and Adam Shoesmith, who's here with baby Edwin, who is 8 months old. Thank you all very much for coming in. Ben and Eleanor, how did it work? Why did you decide to share the parental leave?
When I was pregnant, it was all being advertised, and we just thought, that's a great idea, let's see if it might work for us. We both work in the public sector, and both of our employers had really good policies. It meant it worked for us financially. Ben's got to have some time at home with Isaac.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was a question of why wouldn't I do it? So if you think back, if he'd have been born 1 year ago, we wouldn't even had an option. I mean, I would have had to come back to work and Eleanor would have had to have stayed at home.
So it's nice you didn't need persuading?
Not really, no. I mean, for me, I'd much rather be singing Wind the Bobbin up at Monkey Music on a Monday morning than whatever it was I did at work. I think it's a no-brainer for us, really.
Did you ever have any concerns, either of you, about impact of parental leave on career?
No, not at all, really. Talked it through with my employer, explained why we wanted to do it, how it was going to work. We've got things like keeping in touch days if you need to do that during your leave. But no, absolutely not. I think if you want to do it, then you should, and you should talk to your employer about it and raise those concerns if you've got them. OK,
Adam, you've got Edwin with you.
Yeah. You're
holding the fort, obviously.
Yeah.
Tell us how you ended up doing it.
So my wife and I had a discussion, I guess, when we found out that she was expecting. My wife really loves her job and she wanted to go back. The other thing that I did was I spoke to a lot of dads, and whether their child was a year old, 6 or 16, everybody says there's so much reward and there's so much change in that first year. If they could have their time again, they would have taken some time off. So for me, taking 6 months out from my career, given that I may have another 30, maybe even 40 years of work to go, was kind of a no-brainer decision. It was really easy to make, and I'm sort of towards the end of my leave, so I'm really glad that I've done it.
And how have others around you seen it?
Yeah, they've been really positive and supportive. So I guess one of the issues is that the mother goes back to work, has to rescind some of her maternity leave. That's worked out really well for us. She's just got a promotion, so that's been brilliant. She wouldn't have done that if it hadn't been for shared parental leave. And both of our employers have been really positive and supportive. I mean, it was the first time that they'd been through it, but they helped us do it, so that's good.
Mark, you're very senior in your company. You've done it.
Yes.
I guess someone at your level in particular, it sends out quite a message to the firm.
Yeah, I work for a very progressive organisation, so we came up with a very enhanced package where I get full salary and benefits for being off for 32 weeks. So I'm out there to be, I hope, to be a role model, to be a person who can actually say you can do it. Our organisation is absolutely committed to be able to do it. And I can say, it's not detrimental to your career. In fact, we're promoting some people who are off on shared parental leave at the moment.
Have you come across anyone who has raised any concerns about career? Because it's expected there is going to be a very low take-up of this, 2 to 8% of people who are eligible, and career concerns are cited as one of the issues.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, people do. I think it's the same as any decisions you're making. I mean, you're making a big decision as you change some of the priorities in your life. I wanted to spend the first year with as much as I could with my son, but no, I think people think about it initially, but you can reassure them that it's okay, but it doesn't impact their career.
Well, let's go to Maria Miller, the former Culture Secretary and Conservative MP. Thank you very much for joining us. We're joined here in the studio, obviously, by people who see the very positive side of this, but the take-up is expected to be low, between 2 and 8%. Would you be disappointed at that level of take-up?
Well, I think it's great to hear how well this policy is working for the fathers that you've got in the studio today, and indeed how well it's working for their partners and wives as well. This policy was always going to be a first step in the right direction, and what the government really needs to do now is to seize the opportunity of record numbers of women in work. We've got more women than ever before coming out of universities with the best degrees. We need to press forward with our modernisation of the workplace and make sure that shared parental leave will actually work for more people in the future. And that was the recommendation in my Select Committee's report issued last month.
How do you make it more acceptable for men to take time off work in this way?
Well, I think it has to be more acceptable for employers. We need to see the sort of cultural change that some of the dads have just been talking about. If we want to get the best out of our workforce, we have to make sure that they can balance their home life responsibilities and their work life responsibilities.
What concrete measures, what practical measures could be done, though, to make it more culturally acceptable? I mean, I get, cultural change obviously happens over time, but in order to really get momentum going with that, can you see some more practical ways of helping to foment change?
Well, we looked at what happened in Germany when they put in place a 3-month non-transferable leave for fathers. The increase in the number of dads taking part was huge. So this is a very tangible way that the government could kickstart this policy, put in, we believe, at the end of mothers' maternity rights, put in a non-transferable 3-month leaves for dads. It not only encourages dads to have the sort of experience that you've just heard about from the dads in the studio, but also it enables women to get back into the workplace, not suffer the problems that many women are in getting back into work after they've had their children. But also this needs to go hand in hand with more flexible jobs so that mums and dads up and down the country can actually better balance work and home life on a long-term basis.
When it is a situation where it is women who are normally shouldering all of the responsibility of it and the time out, what impact does that have on careers?
Oh, it has a huge impact. I mean, the gender pay gap in this country now is still 20%, and it gets much worse for women as they get older because they simply can't get the quality part-time work or flexible work that they need to be able to balance, caring responsibilities with work life. By getting more dads involved, that helps take some of that pressure away. But it's also good for kids as well, and it's good for dads. And on International Men's Day last year in the House of Commons, we debated some of the problems that men have in this country around gender stereotypes, high levels of suicide, very problematic in this country. So gender stereotypes are not just a problem for women, they're a problem for men as well.
Richard Courtney has got in touch to say, I've done it was great, but HR were poor. Mark on Facebook says, second child, I was only able to take 2 weeks. I missed out big time. Emily has emailed to say, I'm all for gender equality and for dads spending time with their children, but is no one going to mention the fact that dads can't breastfeed? The NHS, rightly so, highlights the health benefits of exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months and for up to 2 years in addition to solid food. The benefits to babies and public health in general are widely documented. What do you say to that, Maria?
I think that's why our committee decided that we would put the dad's leave, second parent leave, at the end of the maternity leave so that it actually gave dads 3 months non-transferable to the mums, probably at a time when babies and young children were more able.
But it's two aspects of public policy, health policy and obviously this right that are effectively at odds with each other, isn't it?
Well, I mean, many mums already have to go back to work before they've decided to stop breastfeeding their children, and there are ways that you can get around that in terms of expressing milk. So I think there are ways around that. But yeah, of course, it's down to parents to decide this. Nobody's going to put a straitjacket onto the way parents want to parent their children. But equally, we need to have flexibility in the other direction as well, so that more dads can become involved, giving women the opportunity to really reach their proper place in the workplace, not get hampered by simply being the only one that can take a leave. At the moment, too few dads are anticipating taking leave. With the policy as it is now, this should be a first step, and the government's got a great opportunity now to really modernise the British workplace and let women play their full part.
Maria Miller, thank you very much. 3 dads in the studio leading the way. Thank you very much. Thank you all very much for joining us.